All right, welcome back to the Rising Coaches Podcast, the Carousel. I'm your host, Adam Gordon. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Today's episode is brought to you by Tactic from RT Software, the best play telestration software in the game. You guys see it all the time when you watch TNT, when you watch ESPN, CBS Sports. They all use the diagrams. You see Kenny the Jet is always like circling dudes and showing the path and the player vision and all that. All that is done through Tactic, and they've now created a software that's available not just to big studio broadcasting budgets, but also to basketball teams. And as cheap as with Tactic Lite, as cheap as $700 a year, will give you some of those tools to help make learning and teaching the game easier. So make sure you guys check them out. The product is Tactic. The company is RT Software, and let them know that Rising Coaches sent you. All right, very excited to welcome in our guest today, my man. I'm repping the shirt right here.
Let's go. Let's sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it greatly, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like it's been forever since we've had a chance to catch up. It's crazy. It was like probably about 2 years ago that like you signed up for Rising Coaches, and
yes, sir.
We were just getting going and starting, and we were on all the Zooms, and now I don't see you anymore. Now you're a big time player development guy.
Oh, come on. Hey.
Now, how's everything going, man?
All is well, man. Super fortunate to be where I'm at. Right. Good. Like you said, 2 years ago, I was completely lost trying to figure out what my niche is and to be where I am right now, man. Great thank you to you, Brendan, and the Rising Coaching family. You guys have definitely helped me find that niche.
No, well, let's dig into that a little bit more, because I just wanted to take some time to reconnect with like some of the guys and girls who were there kind of from the jump of the membership. And right. when you signed up, like we were just talking about, you were, on the track of, okay, I want to be a college basketball assistant coach, and right. trying to break in. And it's such a challenge and such a grind, and such a relationship deal more than anything.
Absolutely.
What were some of and since then you've gone on, you've created your own business, you're doing player development, which seems like you're really thriving in that. And we'll talk about that later. But what were some of the like initial struggles with like trying to break into college basketball?
Well, I think the hardest thing for me was the connection piece. I never realized how much of a relationship-based business college basketball coaching is. I'm so used to, you send your resume, the best guy get interviewed, and all of that, and then you go. Because before I joined Rising Coaches, we got backpedal a little bit, Adam. For 3 years, I would go to school, send resumes. So I started getting so frustrated. I was like, well, whatever I'm doing is not working. So what is the best way, right? And I was so fortunate. I stumbled upon Rising Coaches through our man, Scott Savor, and then I started realizing, man, I don't know a lot of college basketball coaches as I thought I did. So that's the biggest thing. It's really that relationship and having coaches that are already know your value, know what you bring to the table as a man, as a coach, and how you can help their program. Without knowing that, you are basically spinning in circles because you're not getting in. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think another thing is like you have a family. You're not fresh out of college, 22 years old, right. where you could take like a volunteer job or something. Maybe you were willing to do some of that stuff, but it's really not feasible. These jobs, especially the entry level ones, they don't pay a living wage. So
it's interesting you said that, because I had that conversation before I start looking, really diving in. I had that conversation with the mother of my kids and pretty much said, look, this is where I want to do. This is where I want to be. This is it for me. You've known me long enough. You know that. If I was to take a pay cut, what would that look like for you? Would you support on that? And till this day, we laughed at it. She looked at me. She goes, "You gonna do a what? Okay, how much?" It's like, I don't know. Well, then you're not taking no pay cut if you don't know what it is.
Right.
So it is a challenge, and that's really what got me looking at coaching in a different light and really kind of pivoting to what I'm doing right now, which is, okay, how can I still be involved in the game? What was the reason of me wanting to be a college basketball coach? What do I bring to a college team? And in that search and working with a whole lot of mentors, giving me ideas here and there, and Double M was born.
I love it. I love it. We got a lot of people tuning in. By you're popular, Mendel. You got Daryl Jacobs. Everyone's leaving comments.
I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for your time. I know you could be, in the words of Jay-Z, you could be anywhere in the world doing anything, but you're here with us, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, Daryl Jacobs, what's up? Coach Malloy, RB Easy 3, all tuning in and commenting on, saying hello and what's up. Mendel, all right, so what was like, what made you pull the trigger and say, you know what, I'm going to start player development, I'm going to start my own company and coach in a different way, like you said?
Well, I think it's understanding what exactly you're good at, right? What do you do? If I was, one of the questions I was asked talking with one of my mentors was, well, okay, I'm the head basketball coach. I bring you in. What do you do? How do you help our teams be better? Mm-hmm. Right? And I started thinking back, everything that I've done in terms of coaching have been along the line of helping somebody be better. So start thinking about that and say, okay, well, am I coming in as the offensive guy? There are guys out there that are way better than me. Is it defensive? So where do I fit in? And even growing up as a young kid, because my parents got me into playing soccer and running tracks and all the footwork stuff that I can do, I was like, well, that has always been it for me. So why not just be that? So I pivoted from being the assistant basketball coach and aspiration to be the head of a program and all that to, okay, player development. Now it's understanding what is player development. So really started researching a lot of stuff that was posted on Rising Coaches and other coaching stuff that I'm a part of, asking questions and really understand what it's about. The third step was, like you said, pulling the trigger. Because when you've been talking about you want something for so long, and now you have to kind of go away from it, it's a different, for me anyway, it was a scary thing. So now I have to go back to people and say, well, I'm not doing that anymore, but if you want this, but it was something that after a lot of processing and thinking and praying on, I realized, that's my niche. And as well, May 26, 2 years ago, I got online and registered, and here I am now growing and really loving it. And I tell you what, Adam, the biggest thing that I realized about me, my stress level went from 1,000 to 0. Because now I finally found why. I found my why. That's it. I found my why. And I am loving every minute of it, man.
That's beautiful. Well, and I can totally relate to what you're talking about, the fear of switching up your dream, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, like I had a similar deal. I coached college basketball for a while, and all of a sudden I decided, I'm going to do something different. And it's that there is that apprehension of like, and like what you said, like having to go back and tell people, and does having to tell them make you like seem like a failure? That's what was going through my head.
Oh, I'm with you on there.
That's all BS, man. And I get so many calls from coaches who are curious. They kind of want to get out, but they don't know. And not that I'm advocating for people to do one thing or the other.
Right.
Don't let that fear of what other people think hold you back. And it takes a lot of courage, like you displayed, to make that pivot. And I'm just so happy that, like you said, you found your purpose and you found your why and you're thriving now.
I appreciate it, man. And that's the thing. I think people, when you hear coaches, most people see the sideline and the X's and O's and calling plays and blah blah blah. And this part of coaching, people, a lot of people don't know about player development part that happens. They just assume, well, you go to practice, you should be a good player. You go to practice all the time, and that's one thing that I really am enjoying right now as well. Off the floor is educating a lot of parents about what player development is. Sending your kids to the Y and they running fives, jacking threes from half court, taking their step. It's not, that's not what it's about. So the education piece of it for people that don't know is just as thrilling for me as seeing a kid move forward because they put in the work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll talk a little bit more about like the like what you focus on and how you go about it. But the other part to like doing player development is that I would think would be scary is not only are you coaching and you're focusing in on one, a specific task, you also are like having to run a business. You got to register the company. You got to get the t-shirts printed. You got to find gym space. You got to do advertising. Like that's not shit basketball coaches are used to thinking about.
Man, it is, you hit it. You hit it right on the head. That was the most stressful thing for me is finding gym space. Because when the gyms that you find, they charging because they know what you're doing, they automatically assume, oh, you're about to bring a whole lot of kids in here and make a lot of money. So we're gonna charge you $100 an hour. And you're like, no, it's only 5 kids. If you charge me that much, then I might as well work for you. It's a lot of things, man. Finding the proper gym, like you said, but also building that relationship with the gym owners so they understand what you're trying to accomplish. Because I have one gym that I use right now. When we first started, I was getting charged way more than I should have. But he only saw it exactly like I said, just, you got to bring a whole lot of kids in here. So when he started realizing, he's bringing small groups, and a lot of the players that goes to that gym are guys that are not necessarily able to afford that top dollar. So he sees that there's more to it than the business and making money. And now he pivoted himself to work with me more because he realized, oh man, okay, there's value in this. And he's bringing not only, kids that can afford it, but some that are not necessarily able to, they still can come in and do the work and get better. So that, try to find gym, good luck.
And I've noticed too, obviously you've been big on the swag since the beginning. Although I still am waiting for my black with the orange font. That's the one. That's the signature double M shirt.
Yes, sir.
But I've also noticed like on social media, especially recently here, you've been big on like putting out content, and looks like you've got some like professional level videos and photographs, which that's marketing these days. I mean, social media marketing is everything. And so I'm just curious, like what advice, because there's a lot of people out there trying to do what you're doing. Like what advice would you give to somebody who's like, okay, I'm going to start a player development business?
First thing is have a plan of what you try to accomplish and have a clear mindset on that. Because there's a lot of, you see a lot of guys have college kids that come in and that can do whatever they need and dunking and do all the showboating things so they can attract people that way. I purposely don't post my college players that I work with because I don't want the junior high kid that's trying to get better be intimidated or be in so awe expecting, I get to do that if I go work with him. I post certain things for a reason because I know this is the demographic that I'm looking after, right? The junior high and the high school guys that play JV but really want to play varsity as a 9th grade or is a senior but is on the bubble between JV and varsity but want to secure the spot at the varsity level, right? Be very specific with what group you're looking to attract and post about that. Because college players, they're gonna hear, they're gonna see, okay, they're gonna come check you out, and more importantly, they're not gonna be there for long. But if you have a junior high kid who's an 8th grader going to 9th grade and work with you because they saw another 8th grader. Half of my roster right now are junior and high school guys that saw their buddy or someone that they play against. Oh, wow, you working with? Oh, yeah, let me come see what's going on, right? So, and those are the guys that for the next 3-4 years, they're going to come back to you because they want to keep getting better. Where you get a senior in college who come in and get a workout, he's graduated. Unless he's planning on playing overseas or going to the league, probably done, right? So that's the first thing I would say. Have that clear plan of what is your target and post about that. You can sprinkle other stuff, but focus on that.
Yeah, I love it. Great advice. And probably no matter what you're doing, like have a clear vision of what you're going to accomplish. It's always the best place to start. What about like on the floor, Mendel? What type of stuff have you like zeroed in on? Like, I'm sure your philosophy, like you said, you always did player development. That was always your thing. But since you started just focusing on this, how has your philosophy changed or evolved?
It changed in that now I try to understand what the coach is trying to do with that player. It's hard to do at the high school level because a lot of players play different positions based on whatever it is that the coach want to do from year to year. So before I even work with a player, I try to figure out what the player want to do, what the parent is expecting to see, because at the end of the day, they don't want paying that money, and understand what the head coach is trying to do with that player. So if I'm working with a wing, what kind of offense does your coach run? Okay. It's a lot of pick and roll action. So now I know as we're doing the development piece, the skill part, let's put the skills into pick and roll actions. How to read, if it's a hard edge, if it's a soft edge, how to attack that, kind of include those things in it, because I can put you through a whole lot of drills, but if you cannot translate that into the game when you're playing for your coach, we wasted our time. And Double M is my name. It's Mendel Mitty. All right. So if I'm putting my name on the line, I want to make sure that there's not going to be any, well, you've worked with him for that long and you still did not get better. Well, he did or she did, but just not for what the coach was trying to do, which defeat the purpose. So I think for me now, I focus a lot more on what position the player plays, and then understand. And I reach out to the coaches. Hey, coach, so-and-so is working with me. This is who I am. Please give me a little insight on what are you thinking for this kid. So now I can take that information and have that conversation with the player. Say, okay, this is what coach told me they want to see you be better at. So we're going to focus on that and add whatever extra you want to add to it.
Hey, I probably shouldn't ask this, but what do you do with kids that just what do you do with kids that just suck and can't do anything yet? You know what I mean? They don't suck, but
I love those. That's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
I get super excited when I get a kid like that come in. Because the one thing with player development, that you have to be willing to start from scratch, and there's no better way to do it, because that kid now, any little progress, they get so excited. They want to come back for more. So, and for me as a coach personally, maybe it's selfish, I don't know, but being able to start over helps me be better. Because the way that I train Adam Gordon and I get a brand new kid, I get to start over. Maybe I made some mistakes with you along the way that I realized. I fixed those. Now I can be better for that kid. Right? So when I get a kid that don't know what they're doing, I'm like, oh, come on. Let's work. Yes. Because I've picked up so many different ways of explaining things, so many different ways of dealing with players as a person. that I get to now apply that to someone else, which is going to help my business even more because I'm way better than I was a year ago.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it, Mendel. Man, I'm so glad that you found your calling. I love seeing you try. I love seeing all the social media posts.
I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I hear you, but I would say this: I would not be where I am without Rising Coaches, and I'm not saying that for whoever's watching right now or is going to be watching. I'm not saying it because it's Adam. He's here. I would not be where I am without Rising Coaches. You guys, the content that I've gotten, I still go on there. I may not pop into Zoom calls a lot, but I still go on there, especially if I see a player development coach was on. I'm like, okay, let me see what else is going on, what they talking about, what they did, what did they show. I still pop in and still grasping stuff from there. So as much as I want to take credit for where I am because I've put in the work, but you guys have been tremendous in my success. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and again, so proud of you, man, to see the progression over the last 2 years, and it really was, like you said, seeing somebody struggling to find where they fit in this crazy messed up profession to now someone who's an entrepreneur running their own business and impacting kids. You're killing it, and impacting kids and making people better along the way, which is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So, proud of you, man. And as always, it's great to see you and good catching up. And we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
Likewise, my man. I appreciate the time and everybody that checked in. Thank you.
The one and only Mendel Mitty.
Double M basketball, baby.